Welcome to the Feargiveness Frequency Pop of Color podcast, where we wrap you in a hug and bring you into our powwow to receive divine messages directly from God, Source Creator. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Pop of Color podcast of the Feargiveness frequency. And today I'm being asked to really dive deeper into grief and our grief train in the heart chakra. We're also going to do some energy updates. We may pull some colors and cards just to connect us with the energy. But first, we're going to start out by clearing our energy and purging, purifying, cleansing, transmuting, alchemizing, and transcending. And we are being asked in this current time of energy to really do this daily. Do this barefoot on the ground outside. Do this in nature. Anytime that we leave large areas and spaces, if we are at holiday events, like our past Thanksgiving, that would be a really good one. Anytime that you're around a lot of energy, we're being asked to release all energy that is not mine and call my energy back into me. And we are in this very special this 40 days of purging, 40 days, 40 nights from the 11/11 portal until December 21st in the winter solstice. And this has been a different experience for everybody. No two experiences are going to be the same. Some are going to be physically purging, and you may be getting sick, and your body may be just releasing density, expanding from the physical density into the plasma energy, into the crystalline bodies. So this may be happening. You could have ringing in the ears or earaches, migraines. There's so much energy being flooded in, as above, so below, and within and without, that we are being taken through this expansion. And what it's doing is allowing us to let it all go. And it's bringing forth anything in our life that no longer serves our highest good in this now moment, that is not going to help us as we transition into 2025. This is the moments to let it go. This is the time to actually do the work. And if you've put anything off because it's been too hard, or you felt like maybe you didn't need to do it, or you've already done it multiple times, the universe and the divine Father, Mother, God, Source energy is going to bring that back bring it into the light. First, to see if it holds the same amount of energy that it did before, to see if it holds the same amount of pain, and to see if you are ready to now upcycle it. We don't want to continue to recycle these situations. And as we move out of this last 12 to 15 years cycle that we're ending, and we're stepping into the age of Aquarius, this is the time to do it. And this is that bridge from the old you into the new you. This is that bridge from the lower dimensions into the higher dimensions. And when I received the information about the purge and what we would be stepping into as we entered that 11/11 portal, I had no clue that it would be so hard and impactful and expansive. It's really every single day. You can't even have a to-do list. You just go where you're guided, and you have to fully surrender to see where it's going to take you. And 5 days after the 11/11 portal, I lost a very dear loved one in my life, and it was a child. And her name is Florentina, and she's 7 years old. And when it talks about letting things go, it also shows you that you have to go back to some of the, you may be taken back to some areas within your own trash can and own life to see if you have cultivated the tools and tricks and tips in your treasure chest or your toolbox that are needed to get you through. And grief is one of those. Losing a loved one is one of those. I know I have the tools, and I've ridden my grief train for years, and I didn't even know I had one until 2 years ago when I will get to that story. But as we are taken back through, when we can step forward and know that we've cultivated these tools, it helps us to transition through quicker. And that is what the universe is just bringing forth to us. Anything that density that needs to be cleared and cleansed. So we're going to start this pop of color just with a clearing, a cleansing. And I usually do this first thing in the morning at sunrise. Before I open my intuitive channel, before I open the Akashic records, before I open my powwow with the Divine Father, Mother God, I stand barefoot and I surrender. And I ask that all energy be removed from me that no longer mine, that no longer serves my highest good. I ask for lower frequencies, lower vibrations and energies to be sent back to the Divine Father, Mother, to be transmuted back into light. And I ask for clearing, cleansing, purging, purifying, transmutation, alchemization, and transcendence. And really, this liberation, just to set it all free. And then see what comes back to me in love and light. That's what our boomerangs are all about. So as you take a few deep breaths in, breathing in through the nose, releasing that energy in a big through the mouth. Flowing that energy from Divine Father, Mother, Divine Father above, that white light, flowing it all the way down through your spinal cord channel, down into the earth, down into the core of the earth, and meeting the Divine Mother's hug. Feeling that energy fill your crown chakra, your third eye, flowing down into your throat chakra, your heart chakra, flowing it down through the spinal cord, down into your solar plex, your sacral, feeling that energy just clearing and cleansing, purging and purifying, all the way down into the root chakra, flowing out down through the legs and feet, giving back all the goo and gunk and glue, anything that's been holding you back, that's been cluttering up your intuitive channel, your connection with your higher self, your connection with source energy, and your connection with embodying consciousness. Some beautiful light language just to lean into. Drop the shoulders, release any tension in the ears, the cheeks, the jaw. Flowing down through the shoulders, removing the weight of the world from our shoulders. Flowing that energy down through the chest, the lungs, the physical body, the organs. Releasing the hips, the waist, the knees, the legs, just allowing this energy just to continue that flow from above to below, as above, so below. And give it back to the Divine Mother. She just wants to suck it all out. Give all that no longer serves you. Release all vibrations, all energies. Remove all energy that's not mine. And I call my energy back into me. I ask that you clear my energy bodies, my energy centers, my chakra centers, my 144 light nodes and meridians. Breathing that energy from above, flowing all the way down our spine. As we release, move, clear, purge, purify, transmute, alchemize, and transcend all vertical and horizontal energy fields and shields, all morphogenetic energy fields and shields and chakras, all etheric fields and shields, all of our aurora fields and shields, our toroidal fields and shields, flowing all the way out, layer by layer by layer by layer by layer by layer. And as we start to be wrapped in this infinity loop that's running horizontally, running vertically, bringing us into our full center, clearing away any of the clutter, we'll be sending Akashic Reiki, that life force energy just to flow through you, continuing to purge, purify, clear, and cleanse. Send it all back to the divine Father, Mother, God to be transmuted back into light. And the message I'm getting is ask, believe, receive. Ask, believe, receive. Ask for that clearing. Ask for the healing. Ask for help. Ask for guidance. Ask for clarity. We are needing to not just assume that it's getting done. We have to ask and we shall receive, and believe in the message we're receiving. So it's ask, believe, receive. It just keeps coming through. And then it's just thank you for asking. So as we've asked for our bodies, our physical body, mental body, etheric body, our astro body, plasma body, pain bodies, and our spiritual bodies to be cleansed, cleared, purged, purified, transmuted, alchemized, and transcended. You will feel this energy leave your body. And when you are complete, ask for a sign. I usually will spring forward on my toes a little bit, or my light language will go off. But ask for a sign that when you are complete in your clearing. And then take a deep breath in. See how seamlessly that energy flows all the way down the spinal cord channel, all the way down through our feet, down through the layers of the crust of the earth, down into the core of the earth, into the Divine Mother's hug. And as we are held so tightly in her hug, this is where we ask again. I call my energy back into me from any person, place, thing, situation, or emotional flux and flow that it has gone, that has been flowed, that it has been expended. I call this energy back into me from every uninspired action or action untaken. I call my energy back into me from every visualization, manifestation, from every dream, every wish, every prayer. I call this energy back into me, and I leave love and gratitude in its wake. And with your hands open to receive, allow this energy to flow all the way back to you. You're calling back all the fragments of you. You'll feel your hands start to tingle, your feet might start to tingle, you might get goosebumps on your body as this energy is flowing back into you. And it's flowing into every space in between of what you've removed. Every atom, every molecule, every piece of stardust of creation that you are is being uplifted with this light, with this energy, with this love. And it's calling your energy back into you. That's leaving love and gratitude as a beacon of light in its place. So no matter if it was an argument, a disagreement, you were setting out intentions, you sent out boomerangs, when you call that energy back into you, your visualizations, manifestations, it allows you to release those back into the universe and allow the divine Father, Mother, God, source energy in the universe to work for you and bring that in unto you. Ask, receive. Ask, believe, receive. And you'll start to just feel that energy flow. And then from this space, when you're in your center and you're fully energized and you have all your energy called back into you, this is where you now can take the opportunity to connect with your source, connect with your energy, connect with your intuitive channel, open the Akashic records. You can have those powwows with the divine Father and Mother God and ask for what you need to receive clarity on. Ask the questions that you have sitting on your heart. Ask them to show you or tell you any question that is what, why, where, tell me, show me. Anything that's not a yes or no, you're going to get expanded clarity. And if you want more clarity on it, all you have to do is ask to visualize. Show me a visualization of this. Show me a task forward. Show me an inspired action. Show me or tell me where, how long this is going to take or what healing is available for me. Show me, tell me the what, when, why, or how of the situations that are happening in my current life. If you're purging physically, ask those questions and believe in the answers you receive because you've just cleared all your energy that's not yours. You called all your energy back into you. So in this moment, when you open up your intuitive channel, when you open up your Akashic records, when you have your powwow with the divine Father and Mother, it's you and them. And you trust the information, no matter how interesting or off the wall it may be, that you ask, believe, and receive. And in that, it's tickling the back of my, I have literally goosebumps filling my entire body. So I'm going to open up our Feargiveness Frequency Collective Akashic Records. And if you would like to receive this healing or energy or divine messages to flow to you directly to your heart brain, your heart center, all you have to do is send out a universal acceptance. Or you can drop a heart in the comments. So with this prayer of the Akashic Records and opening up for the Feargiveness frequency, I call forth all of our masters, our teachers, our loved ones. I call forth the Divine Father, Mother, God, the Holy Christed Child, and Holy Spirit. I call for your highest self and the highest self of all. And I call forth our Akashic Record keepers, our archangels, our ancestors, to come and join this powwow. And all the information that is brought forth is funneled through the Divine Father, Mother. So it is truly coming from God's source energy and Christ consciousness. That's how my channel works. Everyone has a little bit different way of doing it. And so as everyone just really gathers in this powwow, there's music, there's singing, and as I just kind of, the powwows seems like it's constantly going these days. especially for the forgiveness frequency, because it is a frequency match right now to this current timeline and this beautiful timeline collapse that we've had recently, this merging and just kind of fine tuning, this new energy that we're stepping through and into and embodying inside out. So the message that keeps coming through that I'm being asked to share again is that you are the love wave. We are the love wave. Every time you dip your toes in consciousness, that you set a ripple out there into the world. Every time that you step in to have your conversations with the divine father and mother, your own powwows, every time you open, you use your intuitive channel, you meditate, you ground, you drink water, you set intentions in everything that you do to stay connected to your intuitive channel. You are adding another drop into the ocean of consciousness, and your drop creates a ripple, and those ripples create waves, and your ripple hits my ripple and hits his ripple and her ripple, and then it hits and it combines and embraces all of the energy that the divine mother is sending up from the heartbeat of the earth, the Schumann resonance, that resonance of the earth. There's so much energy being flooded in, especially from the above the crown chakra. So even that soul star chakra, even the galactical and universal chakras are flowing down into through the heart space. And there's this, the heart is this beautiful bridge that's kind of the infinity loop running through the heart, running up to the next level, to the next level. And it's just this beautiful energy center that the heart is right now. And so as you step further into your journey, wherever you are on your journey, every time that you make a conscious choice and a conscious connection, you are adding a drop into the ocean of consciousness that creates a ripple that merges into waves and that connects with the divine mother's energy that's being flowed up with the divine father's energy coming down from the central sun and the galactical energy and the universal energy. It's all merging into one, and that is the love wave. So we're not waiting for anything. We are creating it. And you may feel the love wave coming, but that's because of the work that you're doing. You may feel it in you because you're sending it out and it's coming back. You're sending it out and it's coming back. And every time that love hits you and you're full of goosebumps and you're in complete bliss and awe and ecstasy, that is because in celebration of you. And as you are sending that out, it's also sending waves through and awakening so many new souls. So the work that you're doing is rippling out there and it's touching your family, your friends, those around you are getting your wave, your love, and they get to be part of the collective love. And the more of us that step into this role to really embrace our purpose, embrace servitude, embrace just full surrender. The more souls and hearts that do that, the bigger this wave gets, the further it reaches. And when it comes back to you, oh my gosh, pow, wow. So much healing is available. And that was the other thing that's come through this week is ask for healing every single day. There's something new. And you could do in Reiki and self Reiki and Akashic Reiki and intuitive Reiki, you could go chakra by chakra. And this is what I was asked to do a couple of days ago is every chakra received a different aspect of healing. It could have been a clearing or cleansing. It could have been a complete overhaul. It could have been expansion. Every single chakra, and we have more than just the 7 that we know of energy centers. It expands through the 15 chakras, and those are the morphogenetic fields that go as above, so below. But then it also extends to the dimensional fields, and that's where the 40 days and 40 nights, I was given that the Noah's Ark isn't exactly what we think it might be. And this resonated so deeply. And I asked the questions, why? But when I can't understand something, or I'm trying to have it make sense for me, my intuitive channel, my connection puts it into an acronym. And so for Noah, it was navigating our ascension home. That's what Noah was. It was a dimension and a frequency. It wasn't a physical person, and it wasn't physical animals. It was the merging of the masculine and feminine. It brought me to, it's navigating our ascension home. And that encompasses everything. And that is where we need to make sure that we have taking this time. And for me, it's been August and through now that I've really been asked to eliminate all social media except for TikTok and YouTube. And I'm only guided to come on here, and I only come on here when I'm guided to, and to share. And then if I do come on, I set the boundaries around this certain amount of minutes. I want you to show me what's of my highest good and for my highest frequency, vibration, and energy. And that is the only videos that I'll receive, or only messages that I'll get. I have set my phone with the intention to notify me if it's something that is important for me to see. And that is really the only notifications I get. If I receive a notification for a YouTube channel that I've never been on before, and it's a kind of the for you, my for you is set to the frequency of consciousness. And that's the only information that comes through. And it's pretty cool when you do it, you trust it and you believe it. And so you're not bombarded. And we were asked to go through and clean out our notifications in August and set everything, pretty much turn everything off, so we could stay focused on going within, because all the answers lie within. And that's where we have to ask, believe, and receive, because there's nothing out there. And even this podcast right now, this is just a guide for those who are searching and seeking, that are resonating with the energy, that are needing clarity. And you may have been brought here by your intuitive channel. If this has shown up on your For You page, if it's shown up on your YouTube, if it came as a notification, there's something in here that is a frequency match for you. And whatever doesn't resonate with you, let it flow through you. Take what resonates, ask within, go within and ask, how does this feel for me? How does this connect to me? And then follow that information based on how it's brought forward to you. So we really are, with that Noah's Ark, we really are merging our masculine and feminine in all of our bodies, our energy bodies, our chakra centers. We're also connecting the light and the dark. We're merging those together. And that is where this rainbow diamond light, because black and white are all the colors combined. It's just the reflection in which you look at it. And so we're entering this kind of plasma rainbow prism and this diamond rainbow light. And that is the white light from above, that source light, the Divine Mother's rainbow diamond light that is coming through. And it's just, you are a prism. You are a prism to everything that's within. And you will be shown through the pillars of light. It's kind of like if you have a prism on your wall, all of the rainbow that comes through, that is who you are. And that is what you are transitioning into. And your prism, your light, is the reflection of everything that's within you. And what you're seeing on the outside is a mirrored reflection coming back to you. So if you don't like what you see, now is the time to really do the work. Clear and cleanse, call your energy back, and connect. So that's bringing us into the grief train. So the Feargiveness frequency is a holistic healing frequency that's available to anyone and everyone. I've just been a gatekeeper of it since March of 2020, when the frequencies started to evolve. I've been able to go through and add all of the dimensions and colors to work directly with the Divine Father and Mother, to continue to allow it, have it build on its frequency so it can be a healing tool for everybody. And you don't need anything more than just asking to tap into your forgiveness frequency. And this is where you upcycle all of the trash cans of traumas and insecurities that you have within your life. And the grief train was no different than the trash can. It was just mobile. Everything that's, I believe that everyone, and what Feargiveness frequency has shown me and the Divine Father and Mother have helped me to upcycle, is that everyone has a trash can of traumas and insecurities. And this trash can holds everything that's ever happened to you, good, bad, and indifferent. And anything you didn't know how to heal, any of your childhood traumas or wounds, bullying, self-sabotage, there is suicide in there, any depression, anxiety, anything that took you out of center that you may not have known how to heal. There's all of the shame and blame is in there. Everything is in there, but it's also all the good stuff too. And what we have to do is go through our own trash cans, dump them out to see everything that's in it and see if that pain of that trash or trauma or insecurity or shame and blame still holds the same amount of weight and pain that it did for you. And this is where you have to do the work. You have to go back in. You have to be observant of anything that triggers you, that takes you out of your center, any of those pops of color. And for me, once I went through my trash can and I received that I am list, these are all the things that I am, good, bad, or indifferent. They each had a color attached to them. And when you color your can and you color your trauma and you color your experiences, you can utilize those colors, because color holds a vibration and frequency, to find out where that information is being stored within the body, because the body keeps score. Our muscle memory, our cellular memory, our DNA memory, our gestational trauma, our ancestral trauma, it is all memory held within our body. When we do this work and we go back and we heal and we upcycle it, we journal it out, we go through the jam session of breathing the energy of connecting us, journaling it out, affirming the information we're receiving, meditating on it to ask, answer, and receive, ask, believe, and receive. We affirm the information that we are, or we're meditating on the information. We use mindfulness, music, muscle movement, to really move music, to move that inner information through us. And through those, we get to upcycle it. So Tuesdays and Thursdays within the Feargiveness frequency are trash can truth days, where we dig. We dig in our trash can for anything that is still holding pain for us, that any of the darker colors or colors that are still holding a feeling or an emotion to you. And so with this trash can truth, with today's grief train, this grief train we were brought onto in 2022, and it was with the loss of a cat, our family cat. And he was super special. And he was with us 331 days. And when we lost him, we were taken, I remember being put on this train, and I walked to the back of the train holding on to him, and I was like ready to let him go. And I walked to the back of the train hoping, to see a sunset. And this was his release, just letting him go. And I realized that when I got to the back, that I wasn't on the last train car. There was a whole bunch of train cars following it. And each of those train cars had people within it. And there was singing and dancing and loud music. And they were waving outside of the train window, the windows of the train car. And there was a ton of light coming from it. And so as Thor jumped off, and Wasabi, depends on who you ask, jumped out of my arms, and he jumped onto the train car and he beckoned me to follow. And as I walked inside, these were all of my loved ones since 2010 that had passed away. And there was over 18 of them, of everyone who had passed away in that decade of time that I didn't know how to heal. I didn't know how to release or to let go. And they were riding that train for me. They were there because I still needed them. I wasn't strong enough to let them go. And they weren't mad. There was no, it was all love. It was all celebration, that it was time for me to upcycle and get grateful through those gratitude boomerangs and bird boomerangs, to really sit with each one of them and know that grief is the highest form of love. There wouldn't be grief without love. And that no one was upset that they were still there, because it's my journey. And it was time for me to forgive myself for the time that I've held on to them, to find self-acceptance in their passing, to allow them to leave my train and come back and be guiding lights and angels for me. And so we spent the last 2 years going through this grief train and upcycling every single one of those losses that we experienced in those 12 years of that train that it began. And then while we were on the train, we kept getting new people. We lost my grandparents like 20 days in between each other during the COVID season. And as new members came on, the party got bigger. And as I hugged them, they were covered in soot. They were covered in gray, because grief for me was gray at the time. And with going through the Feargiveness process, using the tools and tricks and sips that I was gifted, going through the jam sessions with each person, I was able to let them go. And as I hugged them brighter and dusted off the soot of their beings, they shone bright gold colors underneath. And it gave me a purpose to clear, cleanse, purge, purify, transmute, alchemize, and transcend them into the bird boomerangs that they are, and allow their wings to fly again. So as this process has gone on for the last few years, and as people pass away in my life, they automatically go onto the grief train. And then I get to go through the process and ride the train wherever it decides to take us. And it was always, I think I can, I think I can, I think I'm strong enough. It was that book, The Little Engine That Could. And this train had a destination of nowhere. It just kept going up the mountains of how the roller coaster of what grief can take you through. That is the destination of this train. And in the beginning, when it was so dark and dreary, the train was fueled by coal and it was covered in soot. And as we continue to upcycle the train changed its colors. And it was no longer coal that was driving the energy of this train. It was gems and rubies and crystals and rainbow colors. And it was literally rainbow that was flying out of this rainbow dust, the stardust was going everywhere. And you could see boomerang by boomerang, as I was able to upcycle each of these losses, that the train moved faster. It was stronger. It had more energy. And it wasn't just putting around anymore, that it had this forward focus of destination, and that everyone who was here with me in celebration, we had a purpose together, and they were here for as long as I needed them to be. And releasing them allowed me to heal. And so as this train has gone on. I hadn't been on it for a while. And with the loss of Florentina, I was thrust back on this train. And I know that she's an infinite being and she is here with me. And I know the advancement of energy and where our loved ones go through this journey. But during this season of these 40 days and nights, this purge, and to lose her on a supermoon and to be gifted the ability to walk her home, to sit outside the gates of heaven on the bench. It's this beautiful golden bench, and it's the Garden of Eden that flows from the outside in. And there's only certain places that I energetically am able to go, and this golden bench is one of them. And as I met Florentina on that bench the day of her passing, before I even knew she passed, I just knew that I was going to be asked to walk her home. I was having this conversation with God. And I was angry. Because I was sent here to heal, to help, to assist, to love. That is my purpose, to serve. And I met Florentina in 2021 when we were putting on an event to bring awareness to her cancer journey. And Florentina found out that she had stage 4 neuroblastoma cancer 5 days before her 4th birthday. And I had met her about 6 months into that treatment. And she had been away from her family. She was radioactive. She couldn't see her new sister. She had already been through chemo and surgery to remove a grapefruit-sized tumor from her kidney. She had already gone through stem cell transplants and harvesting and transplants back in. She had already just been through the ringer. And as we were creating this event for her, she couldn't, her energy levels were just really, really low. And the family was worried. And so as all of these actors and musicians and speakers and artists were coming together to put on this big motivational speaking event in London for Florentina, I just was this beautiful guardian to help assist with that. But we didn't even know if there was going to be an event if Florentina couldn't make it to it. And so I asked if I could read her a story. And the only people who had ever heard my silly reading stories was my children and my godson. So I took a video of me reading my very favorite story, and it's Sesame Street's Grover. There's a monster at the end of this book. And as I read the story to her, using all the funny voices, and I sent it to her, her family reached back out to me and said she loved the story. It lifted her spirit. She had started eating again, and they asked me if I could just do it again. And so as this event was being created for her, my purpose was, and purpose to my pillow, from my pillow was, how am I going to create story times for Florentina and her friends? And we were able to utilize different streaming methods. And this, I'd never done a stream before. I'd never even done a Zoom meeting before. But the need of a child is greater than your own, you lean in, you try, you figure it out, and you succeed. And the fear I had was to be seen. The fear I had was, I was an international speaker, but a lot of it was done through virtual at the time because we were still in that COVID bubble. And as these events were happening and I was getting my voice out there, it had only been like 4 or 5 times. So I was still super nervous, but to be seen with silly voices and funny faces and to entertain a child, I didn't even know how it was going to happen, but it needed to happen. So November 9th of 2021, we started our very first story time with Florentina and friends. And this catapulted a platform and a foundation to teach Florentina how to color her own pain, to color her emotions, to speak up in color. And it also gave her family a way and friends a way to see Florentina while she was in the hospital throughout our story times. So we ended up doing 2 story times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, because we wanted to keep Florentina's spirit up. We wanted her family to be able to see her, to come on and join us. And I reached out to every author I knew in around the entire world, every children's book author, and every friend and family, anyone in the entertainment industry, asking them to come and be authors for me in our story times reading to Florentina. And we had 15 or so unique authors from around the world that came back multiple times to not only read their own stories to Florentina, but to read some of Florentina's favorite stories. And her grandparents and her aunts and uncles and friends she's met in and out of the hospital, other brave warriors got to come and to meet Florentina and be part of her journey. Whew. And it was so special. In the first couple story times, she was super shy. But then we just got into this groove, and we were able to be with Florentina for the first year of her cancer journey. Throughout the entire journey, we had over 60 story times with Florentina. We also had moments with her grandmother and her mother who came on to tell Florentina's story. And this was all from my pillow. This was wearing funny, kooky onesies of colorful characters, unicorns, and a sloth, a sunny sloth, to bring these storybooks to life for Florentina. And in the middle of June of 2022, Florentina's cancer relapsed right when we were getting the funds raised to send her to America to come and receive treatment that was not available in her home country of the UK. Raising 250,000 British pounds for this, the devastating news came through that Florentina's cancer had relapsed and she needed to be sent back through treatment, and she would not be available for abroad treatments. She would have to go and seek out additional trials. And that took her from like an 80% chance of life to an 8% chance of life. And then over the course of the following 2 years, Florentina, every time she would celebrate a milestone of a birthday, she also, the same week, she celebrated the milestone of her cancer. And Florentina battled neuroblastoma cancer for 3.5 years. She went through 2 relapses. And on the last relapse, she was sent for a trial medication in Rome, a trial treatment. And it was a CAR T-cell treatment where they harvest CAR T cells from her body. They supersize them, supercharge them, and then put them back into her to eradicate the cancer. In Florentina's case, this did not go as planned. Unfortunately, her cancer had spread and mutated, over 4 different mutations on the same cancer. And in October, Florentina was sent home to spend the rest of her time with her family. And there was no more treatments available to her. And she didn't last very long on her once being home. She passed away in the arms of her mother on the full supermoon in November 15th. And we just celebrated her celebration of life on the 29th. And it was so beautiful. She was in a horse-drawn carriage. There was flowers, and she was kind of like a princess in this glass bubble, in a sense. And on the top of it, in roses and flowers, it said daughter. And the streets were lined as the carriage passed by her school. The children lined up with their families, the medical staff and care teams. The fence was full of balloons and messages. The candles were beautiful. And as Florentina arrived at the chapel. It was filled, packed with family and friends, her community, nurses and doctors, and care teams that assisted Florentina throughout her journey. And her life was celebrated through Disney songs and Disney princesses and musicals that she loved. And hearts of all ages got up to speak about Florentina's life. And thank goodness I live 500 or 5,000 miles away. And there was this beautiful live celebration of the event that we got to be a part of. And then there was a big celebration after that I've only got pictures of, but I've got some really great recaps from. So as I stepped on this train, and every single day of saying her name out loud, Florentina Rose Burton, Florentina Rose Burton, Florentina Rose Burton. And as I connected to her energy, that day that I was having this conversation with God, I was telling him that I'm a healer and that's what he sent me to do. And that this was my job to assist Florentina in service and surrender. And because of Florentina, a lot of our healing journey and the places and spaces we were guided of learning sound healing and learning how to use sound chambers and go really deep, the low Elvis, Frank Sinatra, somewhere over the rainbow kind of songs to go really deep in that low energy and density. I came into this resolve that no, we're not going to let her go. We're going to save her. And in that moment, I was full of goosebumps. Every hair on my body stood up and I felt like my waist was being cinched in a hug. And this weight on my chest of this beautiful energy. And then I was told that it was time to walk Florentina home. And as I walked towards this bench in the Garden of Eden, outside the gates of heaven, Florentina sat there and she was talking with some ponies, and she loved horses and ponies. And then it looked like she had thousands of butterflies around her. And as I got closer, I realized that those butterflies were forest fairies, and that thousands of forest fairies of all of these colors had come because Florentina was a forest fairy princess, and they had come to welcome her home. And when I got there, she was so excited. It's like, I know she had been there before. This wasn't her first journey into the beautiful 7 years that we had with her on this earth. She had served out her mission, and that she was being celebrated and coming home. And she knew the drill. And so as she entered through the gates of heaven, she was just engulfed by this family. And just, it was layers and layers and thousands of people deep, and then forest fairies. It was just so many had welcomed her home, and she was wrapped in this hug of this gentle giant. And there was a little boy with a t-shirt, a race car t-shirt, and she just picked him up and swung him around. And then you would lose her in the crowd as she was just engulfed, but you always knew where she was because the fairies were flying above her. And as I stood there and I watched the scene happen, and I got to be a part of walking her home, I rode my grief train back. And when I got on the grief train to show me how far we've come, it was empty. And there was no more train cars. As you walked to the end of it, you could only see the horizon of where you've been, and then the horizon of where you're going. So you have the sunset and the sunrise. And it was only me sitting in the conductor seat with a conductor hat. And there was the kind of the caboose engine that was being filled with rainbow light. And as I wrote it, I could feel that there was this completion that had happened. And I got to see how far we'd come. And I got to sit within the energy. And there was a ton of birds flying and flowing with me. And these were all of my angels that had been released from this grief train. And I knew that this was the end for now, that this train had served its purpose in my life. And its destination was the top of this mountain. And when you got to the very top of the mountain, where instead of taking that roller coaster that grief takes you through, you were let off at the top of this mountain. And as I stepped off the train barefoot into the mountain grass, as you looked in every direction, if you looked east, you saw the sunrise and just magnificent colors. And yesterday and today's sunrises were that same color. These bright pinks and oranges lit up the sky. And there's this baby blue of energy that was above it. And then as you look to the west, you got to see this just magical, magnificent sunset. Like all the colors showed up in both. And as you looked to the north, you were filled with the lights of the sky, the shining, twinkling lights of the stars. You had the aurora borealis, the northern lights, all of the colors just billowing across. And then at the bottom, as you looked down, you followed this river. You followed the stream of water. You followed the energy that is flowing from you, that you are 80% water. But it was all of the drops of consciousness that made a stream. And you followed the stream and you watched it flow over the waterfalls. And a ton more drops and drips rippled in the water below, and that flowed into a river. And then the river was just raging as it turned its corners and river bends and flowed just so massively. It was just so impactfully. That little tiny drop of tears into your drops of consciousness, into the stream, into the waterfall that spread even more drops and more ripples, into the waves that created within the river. And then you got down to, as it streamed into lakes and seas. And then from there, it flowed all into the ocean of consciousness. And it's like every step you take to heal, every ask, believe, and receive, that you integrate, that you follow through on the inspired action, that you share your story, you are dropping more drops, making more ripples, creating more waves into the sea and ocean of consciousness where we all become one. And when you get to the ocean, when you flow, your ripples and waves reach that. You are oneness with all. You're oneness with Christ consciousness. You're oneness with the Divine Mother. And the Divine Mother energy is coming at you, and the Divine Father's energy is coming from above. And you're just cocooned in this love. And that it's an infinite love. And that is where grief is transcended. And grief goes from being gray into being green, into love. It goes from green into blue, into the ocean of consciousness. And then from there, it goes back up. It gets evaporated back up into the universal conscious light. So it was this full circle that we experience with this loss of Florentina. And we still say her name daily, and we still find ourselves allowing grief to flow through us, waves of it. But we know that grief is the highest form of love. So with that, they're love waves. And guess what? You are the love wave. And it's just all of these messages and divine messages are all flowing back to the conscious core, to our center, and that everything we need is within. And all we have to do is ask, believe, and receive. And we know that by going within, we will receive the answers that we are looking for. We just have to trust in them. We just have to believe in them. And as we go through the next couple of weeks leading up to the 21st of December and the winter solstice, we have the 12/12 portal. We have some big cosmic shifts that are happening in the next couple of days. But this journey is yours and yours alone. We have been pulled back from anything collective, from what I'm being shown. And this purging process of these 40 days of clearing, cleansing, purifying, alchemizing, transcending this these next few weeks is all about you. And it's giving yourself grace and gratitude. It is utilizing your own forgiveness frequency of self-love that's fueled on self-love, self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, and gratitude. And when you can find moments, even in the darkest moments, to be in gratitude, to live in gratitude, your elevation will raise. There was one day that I was just in a funk. And I remember that I just was like, I felt it, that just funky, uh, lower vibration energy seeping in. And it was this funky feels. And every time I would be like, I don't know, I'm just in a funk. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It was go on a barefoot walk, you'll feel better. And then I was guided to wash your face, you'll feel better. Drink water, you'll feel better. Pull a color card, you'll feel better. And I was guided through doing all these little steps that did make me feel better. And then I was told to upcycle funk because funk had a lower vibration. And it came back to those acronyms. Everything for me comes in an acronym. And funk was facing upward, navigating kindness. And that changed and upcycled the definition of funk for me. And then I was like, well, yeah, I am in a funk of feels right now. And it's okay because I am facing upward, navigating kindness to myself, to my journey, to the grief that I was going through and flowing through. And then this just kept happening. So anytime I would get into something that was a low vibration, I just had to upcycle it. I just had to change the narrative, change the colors, and create an acronym for that. Before, hope used to be hold on, pain ends. And this was, I would literally cling to that before my forgiveness frequency journey started. My hope was just to hold on because pain will end. And this is when I was on palliative care, preparing for my own death, writing my own eulogy before I started to receive these pops of color. And the pops of color brought me to the forgiveness frequency. Then, as this journey went on, hope changed. It got upcycled, and it was help one person every day. And that is what I try to do through every video, through every uh, service donated, through helping the children, through creating these platforms, through just showing up to tell my story. I don't care how far it reaches. I know that the one person that is meant to hear this, to be here, will find you. And if that's one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, however many the universe, this has an energetic frequency match to, this video will find you. This podcast will find you. This story will find you. This message will be delivered. In however way spirit, God, source energy decides for that to be done. So we also upcycled grief. And let's see if I can find. This one took me a little bit. This was like deep. So we wrote, Grief is the emotional roller coaster of love. Grief is a journey through the layers of love, loss, and feeling. It unveils the deepest truth about our experience, a human experience. Each letter represents an aspect of the emotional roller coaster that grief takes you upon. So, G was grace and growth. Grief invites you to extend grace to yourself and to others as you navigate the unfamiliar terrain of loss. It pushes you towards growth, forcing you to reflect, adapt, and evolve through pain and love. The R is reflection and release. Grief opens a portal for deep introspection, encouraging you to reflect on cherished moments and lessons that they hold. It also calls you to release attachments and emotions that weigh heavily on your heart. I was intensity and introspection. The emotions of grief are often intense and overwhelming, demanding introspection as you process the depths of love that connect you with what you've lost. Empathy and embrace is E. Grief fosters empathy both for yourself and for others who experience loss. It also invites you to embrace the duality of joy and sorrow, finding beauty in the memories that remain. And F, of course, it is forgiveness and freedom. At the heart of grief is forgiveness for yourself, for circumstances, for the uncontrollable nature of the life. The forgiveness leads to freedom, allowing you to honor your love while moving forward with grace. Grief is a sacred dance between love and loss. It is a testament to the depth of your connection, to the lessons learned, and to the strength found within healing. Beautiful. So, grief is grace and growth, reflection and release, intensity and introspection, empathy and embrace, forgiveness and freedom. And I really had a hard time picking one over the other. So, we just decided to go with two for both of them. So, as the Feargiveness frequency blueprint is created, all of these pillow talks are channeled, all of the colors and connection to color, utilizing color, sound healing, frequency healing. There are so many modalities, but it's all fueled off of self-love, self-acceptance, self-gratitude, or self-forgiveness and gratitude. That is the basis of your infinity loop, your forgiveness frequency. And when you sit within that center, this is where anything and everything when it comes to healing is possible. And so I'm guided to read. I have not read any of the excerpts or pillow talks from the book out loud to anyone. And so I'm going to be doing a segment that is just reading the heart section. So just the heart, the chapter of the heart and the grief train. And I'll be sharing that on our Spotify podcasts, and I might be able to do it on YouTube as well. So I really want to thank you guys for joining me today. And if you are interested in hearing more about the Feargiveness frequency, there are a ton of free videos on our YouTube channel, on our TikTok channel, available to you to help you get your frequency, your Feargiveness frequency ignited and started on your unique journey. There's also activations, meditations, there's sips and tricks. All of the sips are spiritually, another acronym, spiritually infused practices or spiritually intuitive practices that are very simple, easy to do. They will light up your world. They'll fill you with love. The sip we were able to share yesterday was the chai, the clarity tea. And so I make this in big batches, and then I sip this throughout the day. And this also has 11 healing herbs and ingredients within it. The four most important are ones that have helped me to get off of palliative care, to transition off of my forever meds. And so I use these four of the Ayurvedic medicine using maca, ashwagandha, chicory root, and milk thistle are all different hormonal imbalance, help with hormonal balance. They help with detoxing, grounding, connection, in addition to physically helping release emotions, uh, calm anxiety. There's so many beautiful aspects to it. I use this as a disclaimer to tap into your own intuitive guidance or seek out a medical professional if that's needed to determine if these are right for you in your journey. But I put them into everything. So I also have one of our other recipes is my breakfast, since I drink 80% of my meals. But this is a smoothie that has those same 4 ingredients in it, with chia seeds and almonds, just a lot of fun, yummy, yummy stuff. Hoo-ha. So as we close out this Pop of Color podcast, I just want to send you gratitude and thank you for joining me on this journey. If you would like more information about the Feargiveness Frequency book and blueprint that is outcoming, you can join our email list, and our website should be out hopefully this week. It should be up and running. So we're just placing our hands on our heart, taking a few deep breaths in. Allowing this energy to integrate, allowing these messages to be received. And just remember, if it is meant for you, it will find you. If it resonates, lean in. If it doesn't, allow it to flow through. And continue to love, continue to be you, continue to show up, continue to tell your story. You are needed in this world, and you are the love wave. So thank you for the waves of love that you're sending me. I will send those back out to you as we all step into unity and oneness within this co-creation of the new earth, with this love that we're sending out to all of humanity as we build a future filled with color and rainbows and love and consciousness, flowers. Oh, so much beautiful things. Thank you guys for being here. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And so it is.